Welcome to Falls Count Anywhere, where the wrestling ring meets the heart. Hosted by the gentleman Jody Powell, join us as we dive into the latest pro wrestling news and rumors, from the electrifying world of WWE to the inspiring stories of wrestling for Christ. This is your all-access pass to the action, the faith, and the hope. This is Falls Count Anywhere.
Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to Falls Count Anywhere. I'm your host, the gentleman Jody Powell, and with me, as always, is my partner in crime, my good buddy, the mad scientist, Mike Buchanan, deep in the Buchanan Laboratory. Mike, how are you, buddy?
Well, we'll talk about it here in a few minutes, Jody, but right now I'm a little bit confused from what you and I were talking about before the show started. Other than that, I'm fine.
Okay, I guess we'll get to that. I don't know what you're confused about.
Yep.
But before we do, then what are you working on down there in the lab?
Well, you know, there's still some of our favorite wrestlers from yesteryear that are trying to make a living in the ring, or that will come back for, quote, one more match. Now, there's this material that people use called Spanx to hide unpleasant bodily features or weight distributions, shall we say. So for these older wrestlers, I've developed cranks.
Cranks?
Yeah. It's a little bit too late for my boy Ric Flair. So he couldn't hide his not quite six-pack anymore, but you know, Cena could quit wearing that T-shirt because I'm assuming the reason he's wearing the T-shirts isn't because we can't see him, is he doesn't want us to see what his body's become. So throw him a pair of cranks on, and other people that'll probably soon be that way. If Cena wants to make a comeback, he might need a pair of those. So that's what I'm working on.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'll tell you what, buddy, let's dive in because we are still on the road. We're in the fast lane to WrestleMania, even though Fastlane, I think, is a pay-per-view that comes up later. But yeah, we're in the fast lane on the highway down the road to Las Vegas WrestleMania. And we want to talk about a little bit of WWE. And is this, am I sensing, is this where you're a little confused based on what we talked about?
Well, you know, couple of weeks ago or whenever it was, Cena came out with that stupid woke post pay-per-view interview about how I deserve a title shot. You have to give me my 17th title reign. I'm John Cena.
Yes, he did.
And then Monday on Raw, last Monday on Raw, he comes out, I'm tired of all you fans doing all these chants, doing all this and that, the other thing. I'm tired of y'all. I'm like, what's he not going to be next week on Raw?
So I'm taking it you weren't a fan of the Cena promo on Monday Night Raw last week.
Well, let's be fair.
Okay.
I never have, can't see myself ever will be a fan of John Cena.
Fair.
But I am also not a fan of sloppy writing. And this is what it feels like. If you can't keep your character in one mood from week to week, this isn't Cactus Jack. It's not Mick Foley. It's John Cena.
Oh, I don't know, buddy.
Retirement tour.
I kind of disagree with you, my man.
Yeah, that's part of why I'm confused too, because you were in the same boat I was after the pay-per-view.
I so was. That's when Goody Hustle, Loyalty, Respect John Cena comes out and says that you know, he deserves this title shot, and what's best for business is for him to be in the Elimination Chamber, blah blah blah. And you know, and I'm thinking that's just garbage. That was garbage writing. Except for the fact they turned him heel. That promo that happened last Monday night should have happened 15 years ago. And John Cena would still be like, he would be considered the greatest in the business if that had happened 15 years ago. Just the way that people look at Hollywood Hogan, Hulk Hogan, and they kind of see the two as two different people. You would see John Cena before the turn, John Cena after the turn. Why are they waiting until now when he's 6 months from retiring to finally turn him heel? It should have happened a long time ago. But now that it's happened, I don't think he could have delivered a better promo, Mike, because he had to explain, why did he kick Cody below the belt? Why did he join forces with The Rock? Why is he doing all of this? Now, they could have gone one of two ways. They could have gone the Rock promised me my 17th title. I'd do anything to win a world title again. They could have gone the whole buying into the whole sold out Cena. Or they could have went the way that they did in this, I've had enough. I've bottled up these emotions for 25 years. I can't take anymore. You fans have always been fickle with me. You've never embraced me. And he sold it, buddy. He sold it. I was there for it. I'm not a John Cena guy. I'm not a fan. I'm not going to be wearing my jorts and my T-shirt cheering for him at WrestleMania. I'm not, but I'm going to watch the match, and it's probably the match that I'm looking forward to the most now. They've got me interested, and that was the job, right? That's what they had to do. I had no interest in Cena Rhodes because you know how it's going to end. Now I'm not sure how this is going to end because we've got heel Cena, and don't get me started on Cody Rhodes because I'm not a fan of Cody Rhodes at all. I just in the last few weeks has just cemented that for me. The language that he's using, and it's just this condescending, just arrogance about him. I'm not buying Cody Rhodes. I'm buying John Cena as that heel. I could buy Cody Rhodes as that heel, but man, I don't think he could have done a better promo. I don't know.
Well, it hits me as you and I are talking, like literally right now, not before the show, but right now. There may be a chef stirring things up in this little pot. If you smell what the Mad Professor is thinking,
I can see that
because he's the final boss.
He is.
I'm the final boss. Whether it's Rhodes, Dusty Rhodes, for that matter, John Cena, Don Leo Jonathan, or anybody else in wrestling. Nobody's planning to do anything, no matter what I've said to them or anything else. Nobody does anything unless I want them to, which means I can turn on Cena if I'm The Rock, and he doesn't do anything.
And that I agree with too. Is still a little confusing how the Rock mixes into this, because the one thing the promo did not do that Cena gave is explain the relationship between Cena and The Rock, because everyone knows those two are not compatible. Their matches, their WrestleMania matches, a lot of that was real life heat between the two of them. So it's not like we're to assume that these old buddies got together and concocted this plan. They didn't like each other, quite frankly, in and out of the ring, on the stage, backstage, wherever. They didn't like each other. And I don't know that hatchet was ever buried. And if it was never buried in a public way to where the fans were a part of it. And so now there's this untold story of why John Cena, why The Rock, why them together. Now, The Rock does look a lot like a puppet master in all of this, because he totally sold Cody Rhodes down the road. No pun intended. We all knew Cody Rhodes was not going to, quote unquote, sell his soul. And then here we go again with a little more ridiculousness. But we knew Cody Rhodes wasn't going to turn, and Cody wasn't going to go into WrestleMania as the heel. Because I think the WWE fans would turn on a face John Cena going against a heel Cody Rhodes. Cody's too over. But they turned Cena and they put him with The Rock. And man, that crowd absolutely annihilated Cena with their cheers and their chants and their na 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 na, hey hey, goodbye. And that is what you're supposed to do as a heel. Man, he got heat.
Let me give you one more little surprise ingredient.
All right.
Off the rumor mill.
All right.
And the twist on that, CM Punk has been floated as, this is my favorite, Paulie, put me in there. But watch this, Jody. And we'll leave our listeners with this as we go to break. What if Heyman sticks Punk in there? And in doing so, Cena's not affected. Win, lose, title, don't care. But Cena or CM Punk goes in there, and then Rhodes turns heel.
Yeah, maybe. That could set it up for a long, because, Cena's out of here in 6 months, regardless whether he wins the title or not. I still think he's going to win it at Mania and drop it at SummerSlam.
I hope not.
I hope not. I still hope not. I still hope not too, but I think that's what's going to happen because he's going to get his 17th title reign, whatever, blah, blah, blah. He drops it at SummerSlam. Now, the question would be who he drops it to. And if he dropped it to CM Punk at SummerSlam, maybe there enter heel Cody. That would be an interesting one. A lot remains to be told on the road to WrestleMania, fans, and we're here for it, and we're here to give analysis of it, whether you agree with it or not, whether you think it's any good or not. That's what we're going to do. And speaking of giving analysis, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Wrestling for Christ, the WFC Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour show last Saturday night. Tag Team-a-rama. We'll be back right after these messages. Hello, wrestling fans. The Gentleman Jody Powell here. Are you searching for an engaging speaker for your next church event, civic meeting, industry conference, or a company-wide motivational session? Well, look no further. I'd be honored to bring energy, insight, and inspiration to your event. With experience as a 2022 Toastmasters World Championship of Public Speaking semifinalist, I know how to connect with audiences, both large and small. Whether it's an intimate gathering or a packed auditorium, I'll deliver a memorable and impactful message tailored to your needs. Visit today at www.jodypowellspeaks.com to explore my keynotes, talks, and trainings. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Book me today. You'll be glad you did. Welcome back, fans, to Falls Count Anywhere. And Mike, let's dive into the world of the WFC Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour. Last Saturday night seemed to feature all of the top tag teams in various forms in the WFC. And what a strong tag team division the WFC has, even though the champions of the world in terms of tag team are the Foundation.
They're your favorite people.
Oh, yeah. Sad part was they used to be. And then this commissioner got hold of them and I don't know. I am about to the point where I've decided that this commissioner is not what's best for the WFC. And I'll say that publicly. And if I get punished for it, I get punished for it. But who should be getting punished right now is the Foundation for what they did to the American GI a few weeks ago. But all we've heard is crickets on that. So it makes me wonder if that maybe was even ordered by the commissioner. You never know. Be that as it may, though, we did see Dylan Dollar in action last Saturday night against a newcomer, Smiley Feelgood. And Smiley Feelgood actually picked up the victory by disqualification because Dylan Dollar shoved the referee. When Carolina Dreamer shoved the referee, they stripped him of his world title. That's how we ended up at King of the Mountain when this whole thing started here on Abundant. And yet Dylan Dollar shoves a referee, gets disqualified. Not a peep, not a sound, not a punishment. And Mike, I said I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Commissioner, if you're watching, I'm sure you are. If you don't do your job, I will. And that's all I got to say about that.
Well, here's the thing. I know WFC has the highest quality wrestlers in the business. But if you're point out there as Smiley, what was his last name?
Smiley Feelgood.
Smiley Feelgood.
Great worker, man.
Yeah, that's what I've been told. But if you're going out there without a mask and you're going to wrestle under Smiley Fieldhood, and if you're the foundation and you need help by pushing the ref, foundation's in trouble, man. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Don't judge a book by its cover, buddy. Smiley Feelgood.
That should have been what we used to call a squash in the old days.
He's no Norman Smiley. He's not the enhancement talent here. Smiley Feelgood he put up a really good fight. Very quick, agile, nice ring work, good looking kid. I mean, I'd love to see more of him in the WFC. I think he can make some waves. So we'll see if that's the case. But yeah, Dylan Dollar not able to cleanly put away the Smiley Man. We also saw Kenny Austin in action. Kenny Austin taking on Jayshawn the Ripper Evans, who we've seen a couple of times now in WFC. And Jayshawn is a up and comer in WFC. He had Kenny Austin. He had him reeling. And we saw him go up onto the second turnbuckle to hit the double axe handle. And as he leapt off the second rope, bringing that double axe handle down, beautiful sidestep Kenny Austin did and locked in that cruciplex, that full Nelson suplex slam that he calls the cruciplex. And that's nobody gets up from that. Not even Jayshawn the Ripper Evans, but again, it's great to see some new faces in the WFC. Jayshawn is one that I think is going to stick around for a while and make some waves, make some noise. If we can ever find out what's in the briefcase of the television turmoil tournament, I'm not even going to call it a tournament anymore. It's just television turmoil because we don't know what's going on with it. But soon enough, we're going to have a winner of the mysterious briefcase, and that mystery will be revealed.
You know what?
Go right ahead.
We haven't heard from my boy Boudreaux lately.
Wouldn't you sick Boudreaux on?
No. I just forgot he sent me a text. I've been so busy here in the lab lately. He sent me a text. He knows what's in the big green briefcase. Oh,
does he now? This I got to hear. What does Boudreaux say is in the big green briefcase?
Colonel Sanders' secret recipe.
I thought it was the secret sauce, man. The Big Mac secret sauce, which is Thousand Island dressing. So the Colonel's secret recipe, huh? The 7 herbs and spices.
Yeah.
Okay. Along with a lot of grease. 7 herbs and 400 cholesterol. So we'll see. We'll see if we can find out what's in the big green briefcase. Maybe before the year 2026, we'll see. But then, hey, main event time though. I'll tell you who's on a roll. I know the Conquerors are the number one tag team, number one contenders for the titles. Chris Thunder Anderson and Kenny Austin. And Kenny had a great singles match. But man, every week, Perfect Vision continues to roll. They were in the main event against a new team, the 864, claiming to be the best team in the Carolinas and from the greatest city in the upstate of South Carolina, Spartanburg. No, it's not. As a native of upstate South Carolina, it's not. It's just not. But the Perfect Vision able to roll over the 864. And speaking of rolls, they are on a roll. And I got to be honest with you, while I believe it was Kenny Austin earned that number one contendership with a singles win over John Matthews. I have to question this commissioner in doling out number one contenders for the tag team titles by winning a singles match. It's not even the same thing. You want a complete tag team, take a look at Perfect Vision because they are on a roll. And I think quite frankly, will be your next tag team champions. That's just, it's not a spoiler. It's a prediction. Well, fans, stick around because coming up right after the break, it's my favorite part of the show, Finding Tomorrow. Hey, fans, the Gentleman Jody Powell here, and Easter is coming. And whether you do Easter baskets or you just like to give nice gifts, give your friends this. Feeling down, look up. by my good buddy Mike Buchanan. Get your copy on Amazon today. Don't give them Reese's peanut butter eggs. Give them this. Send me the peanut butter eggs. Delicious.
Welcome back, wrestling fans, and also especially our Finding Tomorrow fans. Last week, Jody and I talked about the need. For some people, it's easier if somebody else approaches them and asks them if they need help, rather than them to reach out and, as a matter of pride, asking somebody else for help. But then today, as Jody and I were talking before the show, sometimes when you offer help, it doesn't actually work because people commit to it for a day or two or a week or two, but there's a commitment, but it doesn't last. And Jody, you were telling me something that your wife's been working on or trying to work on.
Yeah, Mike, fans of our show Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour have seen my lovely wife Delinda, and she is just a workout freak. Okay, she kills me, man. Going to the gym, which kills me in a good way, I know, but grief. But she has accomplished so much in terms of her physical health, in terms of her well-being, in terms of her nutrition, of terms of, and when I say she kills it in the gym, I'm talking about she's lifting weights and she's not China. Okay. But she's very well defined and so she just has this passion for it, Mike. And so, just because of who she is and she's such a wonderful person, she puts it out there on her Facebook and to friends and family and whoever else. And says, hey, listen, I've had a lot of people ask me how I got into shape. I'm willing to help you free of charge. She's not a personal trainer, doesn't want to be a personal trainer, doesn't want to charge people for it. She just wants to help people, right? And she's met with people and talked with people about, how to work out and the things to do and things that she did, what worked for her and what didn't. And it's just funny because so many people would raise their hands and say, gosh, I really want to have a physique like you. I want to look like you. I want to be healthy like you. And then she spells out all the things they need to do and they disappear. Right. And so it's just so frustrating for her because it's like people want the results, but they're not willing to put in the work. And, it comes down to perseverance. It comes down to discipline. I'm in that boat. Like I've told her time and time again, can you help me? Can you help me? I want to drop some weight. Can you help me do it? And she'll hold me accountable. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Yeah. And it's frustrating for her, but it's also, I think it's also a sign of how, when we recognize that we need help in some way, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, whatever, and we raise our hand and say, hey, I want help, we need to understand what we're raising our hands for. We're not raising our hands to say, hey, someone come do this for me. We're raising our hands to say, hey, I need someone to show me how to do this. But then we have to have the discipline and the commitment and the perseverance to do the work to get the results.
You'll keep using that word perseverance there, Jody. We were talking before about that verse in James.
Yeah, Mike, it's James 1:12, and it says, blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him.
Yeah, obviously we're talking about persecution versus, or what can seem like persecution in a spiritual way versus, just wanting to improve your body or your mind. So, but the principle is the same.
Sure it is. And blessed is the one who perseveres under trial. We all face trials every day. And how do we persevere? There's trials of addiction. There's trials of eating disorders. There's trials of just simply, if you're like me, having a sweet tooth and you'd rather eat a piece of cake than a carrot.
I can relate to that.
And listen, that sounds petty and it sounds small and insignificant, but you eat enough pieces of cake, it's going to affect your health in a very negative way. And suddenly it's not insignificant anymore. And so we have to be able to persevere under the trial of temptation, under the trial of cravings, under the trial of being tired, under the trial of making excuses like, I don't have time to go to the gym.
Oh, hello, wrestling fans. The gentleman Jody Powell here. And I can't tell you how much I love this devotional written by my partner on Falls Count Anywhere, the mad scientist, Mike Buchanan. He wrote this book called Feeling Down, Look Up. You want to get your copy today. It's on Amazon. So you're going to want to search for Feeling Down, Look Up by Mike Buchanan. And it's got verses, it's got stories. It's even got a place to make notes. It's fantastic. You'll thank me later.
Years since I had my last one, but I started taking piano lessons 3 times. And you make the excuse, well, that piano teacher's too far away and I have this, that, and the other thing. But they're willing to, if I was willing to put off my butt and cruised over to the other side of town, they're willing to do it. But after, like I said, my last one was 35 years. I didn't have the discipline for it. But they didn't say, oh, Mike's not coming, so I'm not going to do any piano lessons with anybody else.
Right.
They just found somebody else to do it.
Well, I mean, and that's a great example, Mike, of just simply, when we raise our hand to say, hey, I need help, or hey, I want to do something, or hey, I want to achieve something. Oftentimes what we look at are the achievements. We look at the finish line. We look at, the way we want to look, or how we want to be, or how we want to sound playing the piano, whatever it is. We ignore steps 2 through 457. We ignore the work that has to go into it. During COVID, I bought a guitar. I bought an acoustic guitar off Amazon for like $49, and I was going to watch YouTube and learn to play the guitar. 5 years later, it's sitting in the corner where I left it 2 weeks after COVID started.
Yeah, it happens. So with that in mind, for those of you that are reaching out to help others, don't be discouraged. Not everybody's a perfect fit. Even Paul said at times, I left Mark here, or I left Timothy or whoever there because we just weren't, Barnabas there, because we just weren't in communion with each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll hit it off with somebody on something, and you won't hit it off with them on something else. Don't be discouraged. And for you that are listening and you haven't found that person, don't give up.
Right. Yeah, I think it's important to recognize that I'll say it, Mike, and I'll say it because I'm right here in it. Clemson fans, Clemson football fans, Dabo Swinney says championships are won when no one is watching. Meaning it's what you do, it's the work you put in. If you have a goal that you want to achieve, if you want to look a certain way, if you want to be a certain way, if you want to start a certain ministry, if you want to reach a certain number of people, you've got to put the work in to do it. That's and putting the work in that's where you find the satisfaction. It's not the accomplishment. It's the work you put into it. And that's where we have to end up.
Absolutely. In Hebrews 12, the writer says, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace. Yeah. How many of us need peace? And peace for those who have been trained by it.
Yeah. Discipline is one of those things that is just that escapes me oftentimes. But boy, I tell you, in the long run, if you have discipline, if you are able to control the cravings or to master the things that seem to control you, in the long run, you are in such better shape than those that aren't able to rein themselves in.
Yep. Speaking of reining it in, I think we need to rein it in so we can pass this off to our partners in crime on the next show.
I think you're right, Mike. And again, if you need some prayer, if you need help, right there, folks, that's the email address. Send us an email. We'll pray with you. We'll pray for you. And I pray that you stay tuned, because coming up next, it's Jeff Dixon, Chris Whaley. It's The Clash
on Abundant TV.